everybody. Welcome into my latest live video. My name is Carey Holzman. Today is Thursday, the 3rd. Is it the 3rd of October? Calendar says it's the 3rd. The 3rd of October, 2019. Welcome in. I'm getting a later start today than planned. Lots and lots of delays to getting things done today, but I appreciate you guys being patient and hanging in there. And hello to everybody that's in the chat. Let's see, who do we have in there right now? This is the typical stall as I wait for more people to jump in, because when I go live, the notification goes out to their, whether it's text message or an email, depending on what you signed up for. If you subscribe to my channel, there's a little bell icon and you click that. Notifications go out and then people click and they join it. So hopefully we'll have a bunch more people here in the chat room as that process takes place. So I stall, but it's a good reason to stall, and it's a great time to acknowledge those that are anxious and raring to go, such as Craig Allen and Hall, Alex Cheek, Brad's Tech, Christopher D, Abdul Azim Patel contributed $20. Thank you for contributing so early in the podcast. It says, hope that Acronis discount comes back. You know, we had that Acronis discount for nearly 3 weeks. How much time did you need? That discount isn't coming back anytime soon, but we might do a giveaway. I want to talk to them about giving away a few copies. But thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel. Hello to Garen Lochran and Remus Constantine, Danny Hall, Stealth Mode, Jeremy Kramer, Tina McLaughlin, Chris Chase, Philip Musto, Patrick Manny, Tim Francis, Patrick Russa, Carlos F., Ascended, Glenn Davies, John Craig, Eric Liddy, Douglas Biggers joins us, James 7466, Rob Gurley, Carumbo, Joshua Bruggeman, Roger Lee, Alex L. They're starting to pile in now. Come on in, guys. Stephen Wales, Richard Cook, welcome in. Snakebite, Richard Bogan, Jeremy Span, Tiago Gomeres, Christopher Raybone, Fortnite Emote Music. Come on in. Come on in. Have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. Art Vandalay, D. Rick Benecos, Cindy Brady 2 jumps in, as well as Tony Vento, Andrew Link, and Pedro Ramos, David McManus, joining us from Glasgow. Welcome in. Bo Hagren, Stuart Boteville, Gil Garcia. Sorry if I'm skipping over some names. It's not intentional. I'm trying to be fast and witty and clever. See how that works out for me. Ramek72's contributed $2 to the channel. Thank you, Ramek. I'll give it another few seconds here, get people in time to join us. A little later in the afternoon, time for some water, I think. Chester Hughes just contributed $2 to the channel. Thank you, Chester. OG Gaming joins us, Dimitri. Catch my breath. Glenn Davies says hello to John Lovitz. Yeah, I am not John Lovitz. Acting. Steve Welsh has contributed $2. Hey, thank you, Steve. Carey, what do you eat every day? Potato chips. Just a lot of, if you're in my house, you just hear a lot of, oh, Carey's eating again. Joseph Panariello, Kevin Doan, welcome in, guys. Eddie Tuig, David Veach, Edwin O'Hara, William Lynn, Augusto Pravat, Giles 111, Juan the Panda. Hey guys, Dan Baggs and Robert for you, who says greetings from Sweden. Keep up the great work. Right on. And Nighthawk just contributed $2. Thanks, guys. Let's get started. You remember this? This machine. If you're not a regular to the channel, maybe you're just joining me or you joined recently. A few months back, has it been a year? Maybe it's been a year. NZXT had these limited edition cases based off the H700. They're custom painted. This one's on a Nuka-Cola, kind of a Fallout scheme from the video game Fallout. I don't play Fallout. I just think it's a really cool looking case. I really like it a lot. I love the color. I love how it looks beaten and shot up and damaged, and you know, the It's got the symbol like the Coca-Cola symbol. It just speaks to me. Looks like it's damaged up here on the front and burn marks. And I love that sort of stuff. I eat that stuff up. Up here at the top is where all the buttons are. And even those have a little Fallout sort of theme to them, which is hard for me to show you without tipping the whole thing over onto the floor. I intended to build one. I ordered a case. They were limited edition. Only 2,000 of these cases were made. And I thought, well, they're going to go quickly. I better order one. I don't know what I'll do with it, but it seems like a good idea for a video. I didn't even have it arrive yet before someone offered to buy it from me. And so I built a computer in it, and I decided I better order another one while I can. And somebody reached out to me. His name was Robert, and he said, you know, I bought one of those cases, and I moved all my parts into it, and it didn't work, so I took all my parts out, and I was going to return it. Then I thought, maybe you can do something with it. So I'd like to give it to you as a contribution to your channel. I said, yes, please, thank you. So that's this case behind me. In the meantime, someone else called me from Australia, and they said, I'd like one of those. Will you ship it to Australia? And I said, well, shipping outside of the United States is pretty tricky. It's expensive. There's a lot of opportunity for damage in that length of shipping, and I can't really support you because you're so far away. There's going to be tariffs when it arrives in your country that your government's going to place on it. I don't know what that's going to be. And he said, well, if I absorb all of that risk and don't hold you accountable, would you do it? I said, yeah, I'd be kind of curious, you know, in this process and how it works. 4 months later, as this guy's patiently waiting for his computer that was built 3 months earlier, I still hadn't gotten a clear answer from any shipper on how to get it to Australia. The only answer I got from FedEx was it was about $1,400, and then I decided to look elsewhere. Well, it turns out that's a really complicated thing to do. You can't really use a private shipper unless you're shipping 100 pounds or more. Basically, you have to have a pallet. I wasn't doing that. Or you have to be a business, like a scaled business, to do these private shipping things. And I'm like, no, that's not going to work. Which leaves you with UPS, FedEx, DHL, etc. So I went back to FedEx after doing my research on this and being put into all different sort of pathways and directions that led to brick walls. Started to ship it. They couldn't figure out how to ship it. Put it back in the car. It went to another FedEx. That guy filled out all the forms correctly. It was $1,400. They said it would take 2 weeks. It arrived in 4 days. Like, I don't even know how it got to that quick. When it arrived, there was well, FedEx called me and said, who's paying the tariffs? And I said, well, there was this customs form that had to be filled out that your employee at FedEx filled out with me. And we specifically checked the box that the recipient would be paying the tariffs. She says, and she was really like rude. Like the first words out of her mouth were, we've got a package here. We need to know who's paying the tariffs or we're sending it back to you with no refund of your postage. Hi, I'm doing well, thank you. How are you? That was a weird way to start a conversation. And so I was immediately like, I'm like, you back up. Why don't you read the piece of paper that's in front of you? Doesn't there a checkbox that says recipient pays the tariffs? Yes. Is it checked? Yes. Then what is the purpose of your call? How dare you tell me that you're going to send this package back to me? Your job should be to help me, the customer, get this package where I need it. I don't work for you. I don't know the process. If a step is missing, how about you take it down a notch and ask how you can help me get that package where it needs to go, instead of give me some sort of ultimatum that if you don't get what you want by the time that you need it, you're going to send it back and not refund my money. Wow, how is that customer service? She apologized, package arrived, customer paid the tariffs, no damage to the package. I'll never do it again. Okay, that was system number 3. Then another tech out of Philadelphia saw me building these. And he goes, I could build it myself, but I'd really like to see you build it. Can I send you the parts? I already bought them. Normally I don't do this. I said, yeah, sure, why not? So that's 4 out of 2,000. The one I built for Australia, the price, the components and everything that went together in it just fit so well and looked so good. I said, and this doesn't happen to me very often, I said, I need to build that identical system for me. That's how much I like it. And I did. And then I put it back in its box, and it's been sitting on my shelf ever since. I haven't had any time to do anything with it. And so it's running whatever version of Windows was a year ago, whatever drivers were a year ago, whatever BIOS was the latest a year ago. It has been lacking any maintenance whatsoever. Now, I thought this would make a good video because as a tech, when I go out to clients' homes or businesses, this is often the state of the computers. They are often not maintained. Now, with Windows 10, it does a really good job. As long as you're plugged in and turned on and connected to the internet, it will go and more or less self-maintain to some extent of drivers, less so on the AMD platform. A lot more stuff is provided through Microsoft's Windows Update for Intel-based products. It's not political, it's just how it is. And then there's, it's not being a fanboy, it's just that's facts, okay? So when things aren't being provided automatically, how do you know unless you check? So even when they're supposedly being provided automatically, even by other techs, sometimes they're confused. You go, oh, look, you're missing the latest Windows Update. Oh, I thought it was supposed to do that automatically. Oh, it will eventually, but why don't we go ahead and force it now? Like literally yesterday, one of my customers did not have Windows 1903. Now, it may have been because Microsoft held back 1903 for certain hardware configurations, and they recently just released 1903 universally with no more holdbacks. So maybe that's why. But when I checked for Windows updates, it was 1903 was there. Took a while to get it and installed. No loss of data or programs. Went back to Windows Update. There were some more updates. Required a restart. Went back to Windows Update. There was another update. Another restart. And then I wanted to clear all those files out, like clearing out the old version of Windows, which stays for 30 days before it's automatically deleted. I want it out now. All those Windows Updates files, I want those all removed. I want to free all that hard drive space up. So then I use Storage Sense, which I've demonstrated here. You don't need programs like CCleaner, Glare Utilities, IOBit. You don't need those anymore. All these tools are built into Windows, and you can set them to run automatically, but if you're not auditing things, well, you got a lot more faith in technology than I do, because quite often you'll find it hasn't been running, or it hasn't been running complete, or in the way that you thought it was until you go and manually check. So I suppose if you're not aware of a problem, you don't have any problems. But I suppose you still have problems, potentially, whether you're aware of it or not. Now we're getting into philosophy, you know. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, does it still make a noise? So anyway, the bottom line is when I often see client computers, they are lacking in maintenance regardless of the automation. And the only way you know that is to inspect things manually. I would never assume Windows is automatically updating and getting everything correct. I would never assume the drivers are being the latest automatically. I would never assume there's no temp files on the hard drive that need to be cleaned. Regardless of how much hard drive space is available, why do we have those temp files laying? It just makes backups take longer, it bogs everything down. Sometimes, you know, even something as simple as clearing a browser cache can resolve problems the customer didn't tell you they had. You know, maybe a certain website doesn't load properly. They forgot to mention it to you and it's not a big deal. But then when you're done tuning it up and clearing out those temp files, deleting those caches out of your browsers, they go, hey, my browser works now with this website since you worked on it. I forgot to tell you about that. I just wanted to call and say thank you. So it's just a little preventive maintenance stuff. That's what today is. I have not turned this machine on since the last video. Like, it literally went into a box and sat on a shelf where it's been protected from the elements. It had a little bit of dust, which I wiped off, but it's been in a box, so the dust was very limited. A couple of contributions have come in. Let me just give some shout outs to those generous folks here. Tony Wallows contributed $1.99 and says hello. Ascended has contributed £5. He says, Carey, that Nuka-Cola case is for sale for £270 at CCL Computers in the UK. Yeah, I'm sure you can still find them for sale, but the price is going to be way up. In fact, the CPU I used in here is a limited edition Intel 8086K. That chip was around $350. How much is that chip today? You know, people talk about the price of hardware is always going down and your computer's obsolete by the next day that you bought it. Can someone give me a current price on an Intel 8086K CPU? It's around $700 right now. So it's almost twice what I paid for it. So in this case, it's an investment, kind of. Right? Who knew? OG Gaming's contributed $2. He says, welcome back. Are you ready to go again soon? You have no idea after the day I've had. John Craig has contributed £2. He said, you should know that Walker's Crisps are on Amazon. Yeah, thank you, John. I order the Walker's Crisps from Amazon. It's a marketplace seller in London. So they take about 3 weeks to arrive. And the packages, the return address is London. Dan Baggs has contributed $2. He says, thanks for all the knowledge. And Randall Hill has contributed $2 and says, sup, Carey? Sup, Randall? And Madi Yoel has just contributed $10. I was putting a parts list together for Madi last night, and I stopped because I wanted to use the 8700K CPU, and Intel is sold, Newegg is sold out of the Intel 8700K. I could go to the 9700K. It's a higher wattage chip, but he doesn't really need it. So I'm sort of stalling. If Madi's wondering why I didn't get back to him, I kind of stopped. We could find an alternative source like Amazon, perhaps, to get that 8700. It took the wind out of my sail. It's like, really? Why is that sold out? Anyway, we got about 590 people watching now. Wesley says about $699 for that Core i7 8086K CPU. Isn't that weird? That CPU is nearly twice the price. So technology doesn't always depreciate, like everybody says. If you buy the right parts, some people question me, why did you spend $50 more for the 8086K when the 8700K is only a smidgen slower and it's $30 or $40 or $50 less? This is why. Do you get it? Do you understand? I didn't know this was going to happen, but there's nothing limited edition. When something says limited edition, that generally means that the amount of product is a fixed amount. It's not finite, or I'm sorry, it's not infinite. It's finite. They say we're making this many pieces, and when these pieces are sold, there's no more. So what ends up happening is you have a limited edition case with a limited edition CPU. And if I could have bought a limited edition graphics card, I suppose I could. You see there's no GPU in here. Not yet. I do plan to put one in. But you end up with something that becomes more valuable over time. And then beyond that, it may lose value. Like right now, it's like a good pinnacle, a big apogee of value. Because they don't make the case. If you've got one, you can charge whatever you want for it. Because they don't make that CPU. If you've got one, people don't have much of a choice. If they really want it, they have to pay the price. So when you get it when it's fresh, and you go, well, that's $30 or $40 or $50 more, and all you're thinking of is the performance, you're failing to see. It'd be like looking at a painting and determining the value of a painting based on how much the paint cost and the canvas and the frame. There's an intrinsic value seen by potential owners that's far beyond the cost of the paint and the materials. So it does apply sometimes with technology, and it is something that I don't encounter very many people here on YouTube that acknowledge that potential when selecting parts. It's always about best bang for the buck and not a whole lot about investment. Now, I suppose investment doesn't really matter unless you plan to sell it. But I think everything's always for sale if somebody's got the right price. You know what I mean? Like everything's for sale. But ultimately, there's also a little bragging rights that you have something less likely that somebody else has. There's an exclusivity to it. Why people buy Ferraris or high-end luxury items is to be exclusive, what I have. And there does seem to be a lot of that out there on the internet. So that's why I'm a little puzzled by the harassment, some of the harassment I got in this part selection. But be that as it may, I like the configuration that I built for the gentleman in Australia so much. And again, this rarely happens. I said I have to have one of those for myself. You'll see we got the NZXT cooler with Noctua fans. I didn't really clean up the cabling on this. I know I had to take one of the fans out of the front because one of the fans was bad on another Nuka-Cola case, so I just sacrificed one of my own. and I can replace that if I want to. But let's just update it first. Let's not worry about the wiring and video card and stuff like that. Let's just see what version of Windows I've got on here and how many updates. And while we're waiting for it to update, we can chat some more. So let me get started by hooking everything up. I got all the cables ready. So here's my power cable. Just trying to make it, I didn't want to hook it up off camera. I wanted you to see, you know, real, genuine, authentic. I literally have never turned this on since the last video. This is the first time I'm plugging it in. And I just want you to, I want to demonstrate experiences that you would be most likely able to replicate or relate to. And I do that by keeping things as real as possible, with little editing as possible. In fact, I'm live, there's no editing. Internet, that was the keyboard, mouse, power. Hook up video. We're using onboard video on that the i7-8086K that we previously talked about. Now I flip the switch to the on position. I think I need to move this keyboard and mouse because I'm going to confuse them. We'll grab this keyboard and mouse. Just hooked up, make sure it's turned on. Done. Okay, here we go, guys. Power. You see this thing lights up real nice and pretty. And then let's select that video input. I'm going to use your monitors. We got about 683 people watching, so I'm going to have 683 monitors hooked up directly to this computer. There it is. Doesn't that look good on your monitor? It's almost like you've got this machine hooked up to your own computer. I mean, your own home. Do I want to turn that on? Sure. In this case, it's mine. Normally for customers, I turn. That just makes it visible on the net. I have no idea what version of Windows I'm running. I know it's going to be out of. Ooh. Seems old. Screen is too small to really see it, guys. Screen. 1809, Windows 1809. All right. So 1903 is the current. It looks like we're just one version behind. 1909 will be out any day. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and click OK on that. And then we're going to go to the settings. And we're just going to go ahead. Oh, yeah, it's busy. And just to reiterate the hardware that's in here, we're looking at 32 gigs of RAM. That's the 8086K CPU. And the hard drive is, what drive did I put? Looks like a 1 terabyte Samsung 970 EVO. Oh, it's a fast drive. I wasn't screwing around when I built this. And for some reason, these icons are not appearing right on the system tray. But here's hoping that these updates and the driver updates that I put in will fix whatever's going on down here. It brings back memories. I believe it was doing this when I put it away. And I said, I would reboot the computer and then these would come back and work. And then I'd reboot it again and then they wouldn't. So I have a suspicion that the driver or an update here fixed that. Which is probably why I never got around to it. Probably said, it'll fix itself. You're a great tech, man. Oh, thank you very much. All right, so we're gonna let that run. Let's see if I can also put myself on the screen at the same time. Hang in there for a second as I do a little software configuration. Put myself. No, that's the wrong way. Full screen. Then yeah, there I go. Oops. Come on, Carey, figure this out, Mr. Tech. To be. There we go. There we go. Look at me. Almost like I knew what I was doing. Couple contributions just came in. Let me give a couple shots out to these kind folks. David Kane has contributed $5. Hey, Carey, how's it going? Glad you're back. I like that case. Hey, thank you, David. Lee Bigley's contributed $2. Randall Dams has contributed $2. Thanks, you guys. And there's a couple questions, I guess, that came in the chat room. See what we got here. Carey, I don't know if it's just me, but every time you mention Australia, you say it in an Australian accent. I will tell you that when I'm around people with an accent, I think it's like a need to fit in, and I tend to pick it up, and I'm not doing it to mock them. I'm not doing it on purpose. I think I'm just trying to be, just trying to fit in. So we're in Texas. It's like, hey, how y'all doing? Like, I never say y'all. I never, ever say it. And I caught myself, and I'm like, oh, Carey, come on. If I'm talking to someone from Britain, I will often use words like crisps instead of potato chips, or nappies instead of diapers, or in fact, I don't know why I would say that, other than to have an excuse to make them aware that I know British words. And so I'm not just like any American. I know your words. And so if I say Glasgow, they go, oh no, Carey, that's not how you pronounce Glasgow. It's Glasgow. Okay, well, I don't live there. I don't know. And so if I say Australia, I suppose I think Australian, and my accents are horrible. Like if I try and do a British accent, they think I sound like a pummy. And if I try to do an Australian accent, it just, the best I can do is like, the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin. Crikey, I'm a lummox. That's about all I got. But it's funny because it's not the first time I've heard that. What else do we have here? Brett Weaver says, I'm in Memphis, Tennessee. Hello, and I love your show. Right on, Brett. Hey, thanks for joining in, and Brett of Modern. Stealth Mode said he found that chip for $427. And still, it's about $100 more than it used to sell for, I think, MSRP. Do I repair Linux machine? No, it's just all Windows here, folks. It's just all what the major population uses. As a business owner, I just go where the business is. There's not a lot of business in free software. So generally, Linux users are self-reliant. Somebody says that 8086K is $860. Hey, you know what? If you can get it, why not? Wesley says he saw a refurbished 86K. I think they call it renewed for $730. Yeah, well, it's a rarity now. All right. Scott Pysick says, hey, Carey, my work has blocked YouTube. It's been a while since I've been able to catch a live show. Well, you're at work. You're supposed to be working and not watching YouTube. So it's good to see you. But at the same time, as somebody who employs people, get your ass to work. I'm not paying you to watch YouTube. I hope you're not at work right now. Bob Kick says, greetings from Poland, followed by a word I cannot possibly even attempt to pronounce. Oh, we got to restart the computer already. Do a restart. Now I can see. And what else am I missing in the chat? Are CPU bottlenecks still a thing when it comes to really good graphics? It depends how you use them. Just pairing a CPU and a graphics card does not create a bottleneck. It's how you use it where the potential for a possible bottleneck may present itself. So it's not something that's just assumed or applied. Something you experience or you don't experience. And then you can look at the technical specifications if you want to be sure. But if you're not certain, then you're not having one. Some people are complaining the mic's been cutting out. I think that the new version of OBS is a little aggressive on maybe the noise gate and the noise suppression. So I'm going to turn off noise suppression. And the noise gate, You know what? I'm going to turn off the noise gate too. So you're probably going to have a little bit of hum in the background, but that's going to solve the microphone cutting in and out. It's really there to clean up the audio, to cut out some of the background noise, and we'll see if that's better or worse, if people prefer that or not. I guess I didn't hit the button all the way when I restart. What I think is funny is human beings are the bottleneck to performance on computers in my experience. Speaking of bottlenecks. I am amused by the number of gamers that will spend their hard-earned money on LEDs in fancy cases, and they still suck at playing the game. I got a really nice car. I don't know how to drive worth 2 beans, but look at my car. I find that funny. That is funny to me. Like, why don't you take some of that money and pay for some lessons on how to play the game? Well, what do I know? I'm just old. All right. Sorry, was I being sarcastic again? Yeah, I'm back in Phoenix. You're not in Michigan anymore. Let's go back to Windows Update. I'm going to just keep repeating this process until it tells me no more updates are available. And you'll see all the system icons came on this time. And I want to look, is there a new firmware available on the solid state drive? No. We are definitely in the right mode. PCIe Gen 3 x 4 is NVMe. We're using Samsung's optimized driver versus Microsoft's trim status is enabled. So no update there. Sometimes a firmware update is available, especially after the amount of time that this has sat, and it's generally in your best interest to get those firmware updates for your solid state drive, because most people buy them for reasons of performance. And if you're not running the latest firmware, you're not getting the best performance, generally speaking. There are occasions where an update can cause a problem, but it's not like an update would have just come out. I mean, the odds of that would have been very low. So if this thing's been sitting like most computers that are being used and nobody's done that update, it does not happen automatically. You have to check. And if there was a problem with that update, they probably would have pulled it, right? So I rest assured, a peace of mind that I've got the latest firmware on the SSD and that it's operating optimally. David Kane has contributed $2. He said that CPU is on Amazon for $425. Yeah, well, that's still about $100 more than I paid for it, I think. I can't remember. That's a pretty good price. Though you can get a 9700K for less money than that. So, what else? Somebody says, I hear the AC now, or yeah, it's the air conditioner. It's a hot week this week. It's going to be in the upper 90s. Andre Ribeiro says, hello from Portugal. Welcome in. Oh, there might be an update to the Magician software. Yeah, I should check that. You're right. Yeah. But I don't want to do... So a general rule is you don't want to install 2 things at the same time. Well, Windows Update is installing updates. I don't want to be installing anything else. You don't want 2 installations happening because they might be trying to change the same DLL file or library file. So as a general rule, well, it's great to multitask. When it comes to updates, I recommend don't update Windows and some other software. Like maybe there's a Chrome update, right? Maybe there's video drivers to put on. Don't do them at the same time. And there's 2 reasons for that. One, it may actually fail and say I can't update because another update is in process, which is a good thing. Or 2, either update causes a problem and when you reboot you have an issue and you don't know which one caused it because you did 2 at the same time. So you want to just do your updates one at a time and don't rush through that because it may end up taking you a lot more time when you try to rush. But multitask everything else is fine. But these updates, you just want to do them all one at a time. So we'll do all the Windows updates first. Then we can check the Samsung Magician, the Chrome browser. I don't even think the Chrome browser's on here. I'm going to look for a BIOS update, apply that. I'll be surprised if there's not a BIOS update. I anticipate there will be one. But even after this round of updates, which is, what is this bumping me to 1903? I can't read it. Let's see, give me full screen on this. No, this is an update for 1809 still. So it's going to do all that before it offers me 1903. So we still have a ways to go. Don't do this if you're in a hurry. It still takes less time than Windows 7 or XP did with all their updates. Let's see, what else do we have? Carey, you're rambling. Get on with it. Are you new here? Carl says, I got my parts today using your Amazon affiliate link. Did a build video on Saturday with my 12-year-old granddaughter, editing on new computer. I'm going to post it next week. Please share that with us, Carl. Love to see that. I think that's awesome. What a great bonding opportunity between generations who often don't feel they have anything in common. Here in Maryland, today was a high of 69. Well, you remember I was just in Michigan, and it was pretty cool in the mornings. Oh, time for a restart. And by 10 a.m. it was probably in the upper 60s, low 70s, and it wasn't until about noon or 1 o'clock that it got into the mid 70s, and it was beautiful. Loved it. So I'm jealous. Nightbreed Cyber says, hey, Carey from South Africa. Welcome in. You want to give us a shout out? Tell me where you're watching me from. I know this YouTube has such an incredible reach. It is surreal to see that I'm talking to people in so many different countries live. Like, it was pretty special back in my day to pick up the phone and talk to somebody in another country. What's the weather like over there? What time is it? And now I can talk to 761 people around the world with different weather and time zones simultaneously. How cool is that? Danny says it never got above 53 in Michigan today. In the entire state of Michigan, or just where you live? Because it's a pretty big place. Jeremy Kramer's contributed $7. He says, Carey, in your opinion, outside of Windows updates, just scrolled. What would you check at least once a month for? Once a month, I would clear out temp files. I would run storage sense once a month and delete those temp files and browser cache files and browser history. I think it's a good practice. Some people don't like their browser history removed because they have favorite. Well, then set bookmarks, people. Just set your damn bookmarks. Oh, I have to re-enter my name and password. You should know your name and password. You should know that. It's a shame when you have to ask a hacker to provide it to you. When the hackers know your logins better than you do, you need to change your process. Just something to think about. If you have a third-party graphics card like NVIDIA or AMD, there's always new drivers about every 3 weeks. So if you're a gamer, you want to check those drivers at least once a month. Carl Combs says hello from the Isle of Anglesey. Nick says there's a cold front that came down from Canada, hitting the east and middle part of the country. Oh, it rained pretty heavy in Michigan when I was there in the night. I mean, it just came down like cats and dogs. People still say that? I'm used to Arizona. A storm will hit for 10 minutes and it'll be done, but the streets will be flooded. Like, just a ton of water falls from the sky. And you're like, how could that much water happen in 10 minutes? But in Michigan, it was like worse, and it went on all night. And it's kind of nice to sleep to it, to be honest. I haven't slept to rain in a long time. It's very comforting. It's kind of a white noise. So I don't need to have a fan by the side of my bed. Louis C.K. used to tell a joke. Never mind, I won't steal the guy's material. But he had a joke about what a white noise machine was. Let's go back to Windows Update. Check for some more updates. Rinse and repeat until it says there's no more. At this point, honestly, I could have just reinstalled Windows fresh and clean with 1903. Probably would have been faster because there's nothing on this machine. I would not have to enter my product key again for Windows 10. It would just automatically assign it back when it connects to the internet and reactivate Windows. You only have to do that one time with Windows 10 unless you change your hardware. Like if I change my motherboard, then all bets are off. But if the hardware doesn't change, I can just reinstall Windows 10 Pro, which is what my license key is for, install it without a license key, which is how you always see me install Windows 10. And after it finishes the install, go to Windows Update, and it automatically says, oh, I recognize your computer from before. I'm going to reassign your product key and activate Windows for you automatically. And that would be much faster than what I'm doing now. But I would never go to a client's place and say, well, you're so out of date, it's easier for me to just reinstall your Windows, because then they have all their applications and icon settings and everything. It's a pain in the butt. So this is how I would do it for a customer. And that's why I'm demonstrating the process to you the long way. Sometimes people watch my videos and they don't really understand why I'm doing this. Like wouldn't it have been faster if you'd have done like this? I go, yeah, but wouldn't that have been less educational? Oh yeah. Well, like, am I here to boast? Look how good I am, or am I here to teach? I'm not going to boast how good I am because there's a lot of people better than me and I know it. You'll talk to some people who say, you know more about computers than anybody I've ever met. And I'll talk to other people that spit on me and they go, you're an idiot. Okay? I love the internet. I love it. Let's go back and do this again. When is the new Windows 10 update coming out? Microsoft will not release that information. And the reason Microsoft won't release it is they don't want to commit to a date and force a product to meet that date, to meet that deadline, when the product may not yet be ready. And then they get hammered by the media and by the public going, I thought you said that was going to come out on October the 3rd, and it isn't out. How come? So Microsoft just says it's coming soon. We will serve no wine before it's time, right? It's a very smart play on behalf of Microsoft marketing to not commit to a free update and then get hammered when that deadline is not met for security reasons or reliability reasons. The utmost concern should be that the update is thoroughly tested and deemed reliable and isn't going to cause any harm to the best of their abilities before they release it. And if that turns out to be tomorrow, it could be tomorrow. If that turns out to be next week, which it probably will be, then it'll be next week. But if some little weird bug rears its ugly head and it has to go back to development to fix that bug and then retest the whole thing again to make sure that when they fixed it, they didn't introduce a new problem, that can postpone its release further. Therefore, no deadline is offered. Nobody can say when it's going to be released because nobody at this point knows. I'm sure people at Microsoft have a target in mind that they'd like to hit, but they don't have to hit it. And there's no reason to put undue pressure on themselves to force that. Is the time off on the Nuka-Cola case? It's probably set to East Coast, now that you mention it. Let me just take a look at the time settings. I gotta go full screen because I cannot, you guys, I'm looking at a screen inside of a screen. So it's actually 3 screens, a window and a window and a window, whereas you get to see just that last window. I have to see all this other stuff. So I often can't see stuff, details that you can see. And when I go full screen, I can't see you or the chat room anymore. So the Nuka-Cola says it is October 3rd. The time is 4:06. Yeah, it's a little off. Right click, adjust date and time, set time automatically off, turn it back on. Oh, 420. It's 420, ladies and gentlemen. Can't make that up. I have no idea what that means. Stupid. Don't mind me, I'm just amusing myself over here. Why is it not offering me 1903? What's going on? It should be offering me 1903. So, if you encounter this and you want to force it, here's how you can do this. There's a good lesson in here. See, I'm coming up with lessons I didn't even intend to teach. We're going to go over to Google, because I like Google's search. And I'm going to type right in here, Windows Media Creation Tool, and I don't care if I typo it, Google will fix it. Except I actually have to type it. Windows Media Creation Tool. Did you get that? Typing, man. It's my thing. I do 70 typos a minute. Okay, I don't want the disk image. Create installation media for Windows. Yes, this is what I want. To create installation media. No, I don't want to do that. I want Windows 10. Says you can download Windows 10. I want the media creation tool is what I want. Where did it go? Media creation tool. Oh, here it is. Download tool now or update now. How about update now? Let's just do that. Run. Yes. Update to the latest version of Windows 10. This PC is running 1809. The latest version is 1903. Great, do it. Did you know you could do that? I was showing you guys an alternative way, and it didn't work for a lot of you because you weren't following all the little details. So I'm hoping if I show you this way, it's a little more boring and common, but maybe you'll have better success than the other way I was showing you, which was a little bit more geeky. Anyway, we'll let that run. But that's how you can force that update if you want to. It will come down through Windows Update automatically. Microsoft did finally release 1903 without any holdbacks for any hardware issues, so I don't understand why it wasn't offered to me. But I have no doubt, if I just leave the machine on, at some point, maybe even tomorrow or a couple hours, it would be available. I don't know why that is. There's no reason we can't have 1903, and so we're going to grab that. And that's how. What used Dell PC with Windows 7 would you recommend? I would never recommend a Windows 7 computer any more than I would recommend you eat poison. Which poison do you think tastes the best? Should I go with hot poison or cold poison? Which one do you think I should have? How about neither of those? How about you step up with the rest of the world, get to Windows 10 and keep yourself secure? Staying behind with Windows 7, it's not making you smarter than anybody, quite the opposite. If you need Windows 7, run it as a virtual machine in Windows 10. That's my advice. You asked. Sorry if you didn't like the answer. But hey, it's what I do. What am I missing in the chat room here? Not sure this is the real Uncle Carey. I don't see any Coca-Cola. So I had a Coca-Cola earlier, and the ice melted before I drank it all, and it was kind of gross and flat. So I poured another one, put it in my office, and I'm in the kitchen. Like, I could really use a Coke. And so I poured a Coke, took it into my office, and there's a cold Coke with ice in it just made. And I went, I don't remember making this. And then I'm kind of done with that for the day. It's a little too sweet now. And now I'm back to water. Tom Jackson has contributed $7.77. Thank you, Tom. Windows 10, the operating system to spy on you. Can I just say thank you? I love people like you on the internet. I love it. The fact that you would get on the internet that spies on you to warn people about an operating system that spies on you, I find profoundly hilarious. It's like standing on a pile of nuclear waste going, stay away from the nuclear waste. Hello? There's nobody on the internet that's worried about privacy. Because if you were, you wouldn't be here. Sorry if you don't like my answers. It's what I do. Child of Yaz contributed $2. He goes, you're a real life Sour Patch Kid. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, get off my lawn. I'm keeping your ball. We don't want to see reality. Why do you interrupt our delusions? Why do you have to point out our hypocrisies? Why can't you just go along with the world we choose to see, whether it truly exists or not beyond our imagination? Why do you have to ruin everything with evidence and proof? Sorry. Sorry. My bad. Rochester, New York, 87 has contributed $5. He says, hey, I bought that pluggable NVMe M.2 to USB enclosure yesterday, and thanks for the link and the $10 off. Thank you for the contribution, and I think you're going to be real happy with it. That is by far the easiest one with regards to getting the drive installed in it that I've seen. I mean, completely toolless. They sent me the unit for review, but they didn't pay me for the review. So I can be completely honest, I have no dog in the race. I like it. I do like that Sabrent one though, because it's big and it's heavy, and that makes me feel like it's quality. But I remember I bought this phone from the 1980s, and I liked it because it had a heavy receiver, heavy receiver quality. You could slam that down. It feels like. But when I opened it up to work on it, I found there was just a piece of lead glued inside. And it was a cheap piece of plastic with a piece of lead in there. It worked. It gave me the impression I bought something of higher quality because it had a weight to it. Didn't feel like a cheap, flimsy piece of plastic because someone was smart enough to glue a lead weight. I'm absolutely convinced it's one of the best phones ever made. Still works today. If I had a landline to plug it in, I'd show you. John Craig has contributed $2. He says, are you sure you're not British? I see a lot of specials about the British. There was one called, I don't know, something about, it was a television special like on ITV or BBC about what it is to be British. And, like they hate the Christmas carolers, or like if somebody's trying to talk to them on the tube, on the subway, they will get off, even though it's not their stop. Like the next stop, rather than endure a conversation, which could be friendly, just don't talk to me. They will just politely excuse themselves. Oh, this is my stop. I have to go now. Get off and wait for the next one and get back on again. And I'm like, these are my people. I like these people. I might be British. Don't show me any fish and chips. I will be all over that. I did own a Mini Cooper. I am a bit of an Anglophile. I watch a lot of British television. Fritzer's contributed $5. He says, thank you for all of your teachings. I finally did a build after 36 years. Hey, that's great. I have people that say I finally did a build after 72 years. So listen, you're halfway at some people's point. So congratulations. I'm sure it went well, and you probably want to do it again, right? It's always what I hear. Like there's never anybody who says, I built a computer, I'll never do that again. It's never happened unless someone's just pulling my leg and they're joking around. It's never, ever happened. So welcome to the enlightened, at least as far as building a computer goes. We're glad to have you. Carey, do you use Windows 7 keys for Windows 10 licensing if you run into using any issues? No. I haven't done that in a while, but I had some Windows 7 keys. As long as they have not been used to activate Windows 10 before, as long as the version of Windows 10 matches the key for Windows 7. So if it's a Windows 7 Home product key and it's never been used to activate Windows 10 Home, it will work. Same with Pro. You cannot twist them around. You can't use a Home key on a Pro. You can't use a Pro key on Home. So when you're selecting your install, always install the operating system first with no product key. And that means you have to choose the version, which you see me do all the time. All my keys are Pro keys, whether they're 7 or 10, they're always Pro. So when I do the install, I always say I don't have a product key, and I click the Pro version, because the Windows 7 or Windows 10 key I will use after the install is going to be a Pro key. So as we follow those steps that I just said in the order I said them, then when you go to enter your Windows 7 or Windows 10 key after you've installed the proper OS, then you can put your product key in. In fact, I would even go to Windows Update, grab all the updates, make sure everything works, then I would put my product key in. The only reason the product key won't work is you did not have a legitimate product key. You have an enterprise product key, which is not a legitimate product key, except in very few circumstances. Generally, people who have those generally are pirates. Not everybody who's got one is a pirate, but most of the people that are home users that steal Windows are stealing the enterprise edition. That's just the way it works. That's reality. It doesn't mean if you've got enterprise you're a thief, but most of the people running enterprise that I encounter in my life don't have a legitimate license for it. That's used in businesses where their IT department maintains their computers, so they don't, it's not the same. People think they're getting away with something. Anyway. But yeah, the Windows 7 keys will still work to activate Windows 10. Doctor Who fish and custard. Yeah, that's gross, right? That was David Tennant, wasn't it? Was it David Tennant or Matt Smith? I think it was David Tennant. Oh, I'm a nerd. Oh, God, where's my 20-sided die? Gary Gygax, save me. Stop with the references. They're going to figure out you're really a nerd. Be cool, man. Fonzie. No, that's a dated reference. Don't say Fonzie, man. Coolio. Seriously? Gwen Stefani? Oh, be relevant. Post Malone. What is your router setup? I have a Netgear XR700, which I think sells now for $450. I paid $500 for it. I feel like it's a great router, but it was too much money. I feel like that router is worth about $350. What's it going for today? Let's take a quick look over at Amazon. And let's type in XR700. $499? What? It was $450. Why did the price go up again? That's weird. Well, I don't know why it went back up. I do see it's available for $399 in used condition. And somebody's wanting $599. Good luck with that. Huh, maybe I saw it on sale for $450. I thought that was the newer price because, you know, technology, it always gets cheaper. It's a great router. Love this router. Do love it. I just think it's $150 too much for what you get. Bill Ottinger's contributed $1. Thank you, Bill. Wafik Joma says, Carey, your channel's awesome. Thank you for all the useful information. I wanted to ask if you're using a local user Windows account. Yes, yeah, I always use local accounts. There's benefits to using so I'll give you an example. One of my clients' daughter was working on homework on her laptop and spilled her drink on the laptop. And it no worky no more. And her homework was due the next day, as is the case usually when kids do their homework at the last minute. And so he said, here, you can use my laptop. And she logged in, you know, she logged off as him and logged in as herself to her Microsoft account. And all of her icons and programs and data, I don't know if it's the programs, but all of her data, the work she was working on, was all right there. And he's like, oh my God, that's the best feature ever. And then somebody else comes along and goes, that's not very secure, and somebody can steal your data. And yes, and you can use a screwdriver, to take off a lock to escape a room that's burning on fire, or you can use a screwdriver to mug somebody or kill somebody and stab them in the head. Like anything else, you may choose to see the good side, you may choose to see the bad side. My only request is that you exhibit enough consideration to know that it's not all one-sided. It's not all negative. It's not all the way you may be presenting it online. There are other perspectives that deserve respectful consideration, to be thoughtful and considerate to your fellow human beings who perhaps have different needs, wants, desires, and different priorities than you do. So nothing's all good, nothing's all bad. You can't have a front without a back. Can't have dark without the light. It's kind of what we call life. And you just do what fits you, but don't assume because it fits you, I'm going to like it. I got this gray dickie. You like my dickie? I'm not wearing a dickie. But look how good it looks on me. Yeah, you're right, it looks good on you. I look like an idiot with it. You look like an idiot anyway. That's not the point. Some of these questions that people ask. When was the last time you had a healthy bowel movement? I mean, that's not exactly what they're asking, but there's some weird questions that I kind of... If you have technical questions, I'd be happy to answer them, though. Still waiting on this update. It is a big one. Carey, would you be willing to build me a computer? I expect to pay for it, of course. So, Josiah, everything you see on my channel is real work. I'm not one of those YouTube enthusiast, hobbyist channels that just makes up stuff. Highly polished, highly edited, that has nothing to do with reality. What I do is I help customers in the real world that have real problems, and that means building them computers, upgrading computers, repairing their computers, everything with networking and all that other fun stuff. And I turn a camera on and I share it with you guys because I feel like there's this great big hole in YouTube that lacks reality. And I realize there's many of you who just want nothing to do with reality. Like you want to live, some of you want to live in a fantasy world where the sky is orange and everything is the way you say it is, and if it's not, you just keep repeating it until it is that way in your mind, and it doesn't really change reality. And that's what it feels like to me. So what I like to do is cut through all that and show real work being done, that I'm actually getting paid for from clients who are actually appreciative. And if you'd like me to build a system for you, there's a whole process in place for this. I would very much love the opportunity to build your system on camera. And I don't sell the parts. I'm not a salesman. It's not what I do. So you will still buy the parts. You'll just ship them to me or have them shipped directly to me, and I will build your system and ship it to you. You're going to pay me for the shipping, and we'll talk over the phone over what the best parts are. I'm not just going to build what you decide to send, because you could be setting me up for a nightmare. So we'll talk, and I'll make recommendations, and I'll listen. And then if you have questions or concerns throughout my recommendations, I'll address those until we've settled on what a good solution is that fits your needs and your budget. And then we move forward with ordering the parts. And once the parts arrive, I'll schedule the build. I'll do it live. Hopefully you'll join us in the chat. you'll see your system being built. I might even have questions for you if you're in the chat about, you know, where do you want your optical drive? You want it on top, you want it in the middle, and you want me to move this? If not, you'll watch it later and you can tell me and I make those adjustments. When it's ready, of course, I install Windows, all the updates, all the firmware updates, BIOS updates. I tune it, put it back in the box, and I ship it via FedEx ground to anywhere in the United States and only in the United States. And the money I make comes from whatever money the video makes. I think it's a pretty fair system, and you can reach out to me if you're interested in following through on that. Go to tech-vets.com, and you'll see my email address listed on the right. And just click on that, and you can send that off. People that are just wanting me to fix their problems for free, they generally won't get a response, or I will point them to techguy.org. So if you have a computer problem and you're looking to fix it yourself and you need some free advice, outside of what I do here live, I don't do this when I'm not live. Customers pay me for this. So, yeah, can you believe that? I know, right? This guy, how's he get people to pay for that? Since when? 1995 he's been getting paid to do this? How's that possible? Crazy world, huh? So, anyway, yeah, so I've had a few people, you know, they don't contribute to the channel. They reach out to me and they tell me all about their, they don't say, hey, can I ask you, can I get some free support? They just immediately go all about me. Let me tell you about my computer problem. They write for 3 pages. You think I read it? I'm looking at this, I'm like, I don't have time for this, delete. Or I hit reply and I send them a canned response that says, if you're looking for free help. On the other hand, people who contribute financially to the channel, I do help them out because it's a give and take. If I'm just giving and you're just taking, there's no incentive for me to keep giving. It starts to get that way after a while. You know, I don't mean to be a jerk, I really don't, but there's only so many hours in a day, and some people just take, and I can't tell one apart from the other until something's offered. So anyway, big problems I have. But anything about business, I'll take those emails all day. If you're talking about business, you're looking to have work done, a repair, an upgrade, you want to take advantage of what I'm offering, please, please, please reach out to me. You're looking for something for nothing, just stay where you are. You're good. Glad to have you here. All the information I offer is free. It's totally worth it. Carey, can you use a PCIe 3.0 riser card on a PCI 4.0 motherboard for a speed upgrade? Well, that would be a speed downgrade, right? If you went from PCI 4 down to PCI 3, then it'll operate at PCI 3. So I don't think a human being can tell the difference. Maybe your benchmarking software can. At least not yet. The hardware just ain't there yet. Honestly, if you got an SSD moving at 5,000 megabytes a second versus 3,600, apart from benchmarks, I don't know how you can tell. Look, it's 3/4 of a millisecond faster than it was loading before. That was me pushing my glasses up. 3/4 of a millisecond, you don't say. Oh my God, that means if you loaded that 18 million times in your lifetime, you will have saved 4 minutes. Can you imagine 4 minutes? You've just talked about this for 6 minutes. Well, we're nerds. This is what we do. It's a little preposterous. She turned him into a newt. I got better. Is this the PC you wanted to use for streaming? Yes. Yes, it is. It's much quieter. And look at how cool it looks. That makes me a better streamer. because it has LED lights on it. So it totally makes me a better streamer. The quality of my videos is going to be so much better with these RGB lights. I'm going to hit that 1 million subscriber mark when this bad boy gets going as a streamer. Jitesh has posted the link for techguy.org. It is a free support site. They can answer your questions on any operating system, Mac, Linux, Windows, any hardware. It's all covered there. Raspberry Pi, all of it. It's a great resource for seeking free help. As such, there's really nobody to complain to if you don't like the answers you get. But it is a world of you get what you pay for, and it's just kindness. It all operates on mostly the best of intent and kindness. So please consider that if you get answers that aren't very helpful. But usually the answers are good. Madi says, who are you talking to? I'm imagining, because I can't hear, right? I can only see what's being written. I'm imagining what one of you 950 people are saying to your screen. You ever see people yell at the football, like they yell at sports? Oh, come on! Why'd you do, I'm just imagining somebody's doing that to me right now. And so I'm mocking them with the worst possible voice I can come up with as an attempt to make them aware that I'm aware. That I know that you're thinking that, and I'm aware that you're thinking that. And I'll just take the most negative thing I can think of and address it and try and nip all of it in the bud with one fell swoop and say, there, cleared the field. Now I can move forward. It's like a big machete, and I'm just cutting through woods. And you're like, but there's nothing there. I'm like, yeah, but when there is something there, I'm going to swipe it just as it gets in my way. Just keep going back and forth with that machete, clearing that path. Welcome to YouTube. Carey, what's your opinion on modern day certifications? My opinion has never changed. Certifications are very useful when you need a job that requires them. If you have no job or employer that requires the certs, it is not in your benefit to have those certs. If you're wanting to apply for a new job or a new position, and that position requires those prerequisites, then it would benefit you to have those prerequisites. If you have no financial return of investment on those certifications, then what's the point of having them? It's pretty simple. I like to keep my world simple. Do you think a normal user account is better than using an administrator account for security reasons? None of my customers use anything but an administrator account. And the reason for that is I don't want to get a phone call every time they're trying to add a printer or update QuickBooks my phone would ring off the hook. Viruses aren't really the problem they used to be. My customers know not to click on email attachments or strange links. We have Malwarebytes activated and running at all times, and I regularly monitor the computers remotely so I know everything that's going on at any given time. We also have regular backups, so if anything happens that's unexpected, which is when backups are needed, that we can recover back to what everything was without concern of losing data because of ransomware or the antivirus or Malwarebytes didn't catch something that got through. So there's a common practice of the end user making responsible decisions behind the keyboard, combined with the added protection, like I'm a safe driver, but I still have car insurance because things happen. And then try and reduce that anxiety, really, because you can worry about a problem. It can keep you up at night, but it doesn't solve or prevent the problem. So if you're driving around going, I know somebody's going to hit me, I know somebody's going to hit me, and you can't enjoy driving because you're just so focused on the fact that it's just a matter of time, somebody's going to hit me, and what happened? Like you're spun around, you're in another lane. Where am I? What happened? Well, what did you see? I just saw a big airbag. I don't know. I have no idea what just happened. Well, you just got hit. See, all that worrying didn't prevent it from occurring. It didn't benefit you in any way, shape, or form. It's not healthy physically or mentally to your blood pressure or your sanity to be worried about things that are beyond your control. What you can do, however, is you can drive responsibly and you can make responsible decisions that reduce the statistical likelihood of you being involved in a situation that you'd prefer not to be in. But you can't guarantee it 100%. Sometimes you're just doing everything right and some moron comes along and blindsides you. However, it's rare. It doesn't usually happen to most people. These horrific stories you see on the news, they happen all over the world, not necessarily in your neighborhood. And many of those stories have little stories about them that's sort of like, oh, it was a drug deal that went bad. It wasn't like a random home invasion the way the news made it out. No, this guy was selling drugs out of his house, had the wrong kind of characters coming over, and they decided they were going to hit him up one night and just steal all the drugs out of his house, and they murdered him while they were in there. Oh, I must live in a dangerous neighborhood. Well, I think you had a single neighbor that was probably in a questionable business situation, and that problem seems to have been solved now, so I think everything's back to normal again. But the news media, ooh boy, they like to keep you, here in America, they like to keep you scared. That's good for them. So if being scared actually changed anything, I'd be all for it. All right, let me go back to Windows Update. Close this down. You guys are looking like it's dinner time. It's not your dinner time yet, boy. It's not dinner time yet. It's close. So yes, there are going to be Windows updates to the Windows updates, as you will see here in a minute. Whatever happened to Subaru Mike? Well, Subaru Mike went away to his home state of Wisconsin for a high school reunion and a wedding, and he was gone for a couple of weeks. And that overlapped with when I was gone for 3 weeks in Michigan. Subaru Mike was actually in Michigan at the same time I was in Michigan, but we were like 5 hours apart, 4 hours apart, so we didn't meet up. There was no time. And then when I got back, it's a matter of getting back to work. When he got back, he's got like a 10-motor backlog right now. I just spoke to him the other day, and I hadn't spoken to Mike in the 3 weeks I was gone. We didn't speak. He was doing his thing, I was doing my thing. So there'll be more of him, more of his videos coming up in the future. Everything's fine. It's all good. Everybody's busy. Thank you for asking, though. He's a very good friend. Can you show us on Google Maps that amazing place you went to? I can't pull that up on the screen here, but you can, because of the streaming computer. I'd have another computer to do that, which would be this one, but it's updating. Just look up Cascade, Michigan. Though it's not limited to the city of Cascade. Michigan's a beautiful, beautiful state, and that's just one example. Come and live in Europe, Carey. We are not scared, and we have normal media and long holidays. And healthcare, right? Oh, what a dream that would be. No, wait, I'm American and I live in the best country in the world. Re-education complete, brainwashing completed. What were we talking about? Daytona Beach, Florida has contributed $2. He said, Daytona Beach, Florida is nerds in paradise. I enjoyed Key West. That felt like paradise. I don't know if I spent any time in Daytona Beach. I will be in Miami for the Acronis Cyber Summit. See if I can put a link up to that. Acronis has graciously invited me out to cover the event for my channel. And I'm saying, hell yes, I will go, thank you. Let's get it typed in here, Carey. Acronis Cyber Summit 2019. There it is. October 13th through the 16th. I will be in Miami for work. I'm not hanging out. There's not going to be any time to get together with people. But if you're there and we bump into each other, of course, be glad to say hello. But there's a link to the Summit 2019. Big, big deal, that is. I am very much looking forward to it. Mike Zawinski's contributed $5. He says, I just finally catching... Words are hard. Mike Zelensky's contributed $5. He says, I'm finally catching a live stream again, this time from Potchefstroom, South Africa, where I'm streaming the African Powerlifting Championships. Potchefstroom. Only thing I know about South Africa is Nelson Mandela, Die Antwoord, Noah Trevor, the movie Chappie, Neil Blomkamp. That's it. Those are all my cards. Joe Berg. That's it. I've just exposed all of my knowledge of South Africa. But I'm glad to have you here. I wish I knew more about it. Randy Hopkins says, Carey, I enjoy your YouTube. It has refreshed some things I forgot. Keep it up. It's great for all of us. By the way, I purchased a Cronus for 3 home network PCs. Thank you for the discount. Right on, Randy. Make sure that you're a moderator in there. Randy Hopkins has contributed $2. Carey, enjoy YouTube. It's great for all of us. Russ, the PC doctor, contributed $5. Says, welcome back, Carey. Is that 1909 by chance? We just put 1909 on. We just literally put 1909 on it. And now we're updating. These are the first set of updates since upgrading to 1909. And I had to force the 1909 update and just showed how to do that using the Windows Media Creation tool. Oh, 1903. Sorry, it's not 1909. It's 1903. My bad. My bad. The Dominican Republic is paradise? If you don't exit the resort, it's great. And even then, never been, but I have a friend who's been many times. Mike Smith likes to go to Punta Cana, I can't pronounce it. A very high crime rate. Very, very much a very poverty-stricken place. My understanding is when you're staying in the Dominican Republic that there are these resorts and they have fenced-in areas to keep people out. And if you stay within those fenced-in areas, in general, it's a great time. But the minute you exit those fenced-in areas, anything can happen. And I know somebody that's from there and went back to visit and got mugged while they were there, and they're from there, or kidnapped, or whatever you call it. So, but my understanding is as long as you stay within the resort, you're fine. So I don't know if you're going outside of the resort. But even Mike Smith won't go there right now. There's been a number of murders there, American tourists. So I don't know if you watch the news. But again, American media, like to keep us scared. But I've never been, so I don't really know what I'm talking about. I just know somebody who's from there, and they tell me the stories. And then, of course, I see the news, and I'm like, yeah, you can go. If I'm not there, you can start without me. I'm not telling you not to go. I'm just saying, no thanks. I'm not even going to Rocky Point, Mexico. No. Not in these times. Nope. I will, however, go back to Michigan any day of the week. That's no problem. Let's see what else we've got in the chat room. 19 and 9 is out for insider preview. Yeah, of course it's out for insider preview because it's almost ready to be released. So that's sort of the last phase. That's how I know it's going to be out soon, is it's in the final stage of development. Carey, are you ready for the new Star Wars to come out? You know, yeah. What I'm more excited about is the Boba Fett, the series that's, what is it, on Netflix or something called The Mandalorian. There's a lot of potential. Could be amazing. I hope they don't screw it up. I don't know why I'm talking like this. They screwed up the Solo movie. That thing could have been so much better. They screwed that up. Them screwing up the Solo movie killed off the Boba Fett movie. So I'm pretty upset about it. Because if I'd have made that Solo movie, it would have been a lot different. And it would have been a way, way cooler than that mess. Han Solo's a badass. He's not a nice guy. He's a dirty, rotten, scruffy-looking nerf herder. And they made him out like he's a nice guy. And there could have been a whole Indiana Jones type series of these movies with those adventures Chewbacca had. One thing that bothered me was that previous Star Wars movie where Han Solo asked Chewbacca for his bolt, his bolt rifle, and he takes it and shoots it. And he's like, well, you're telling me in all the years they've been friends, he'd never fired Chewie's rifle before? Seriously? Never, ever. They never, it's like hanging out in the woods. He's like, hey, let me see your rifle. Wow, it's pretty good. No, in the heat of battle and he runs out of ammunition or he loses his weapon, I can't remember. Hey, Chewie, let me see your gun. I never shot this before. We've been friends for like 75 years. Never occurred to me. Be like, oh, let me put your glasses on. I've known you all these times. Come on, you're friends with somebody who wears glasses. You probably put their glasses on for fun. Come on. I think you're making too much out of that Star Wars movie. I think you might be reading a little too much into that. Do you know anything about Star Wars fans? Clearly you don't. All right, back to Windows updates. Don't mind me as I entertain myself. You're just a bunch of eavesdroppers. Not talking to you. Talking to me. Whoa. Where's my feed? Where'd my feed go? There it is. Oh, it says I'm up to date now. Can you imagine? It wasn't too terrible. Check it one more time because I don't believe it. All right, now let me right click and go full screen so I can see again. Full screen, thank you. All right, let's take a look at the Magician software. Let's update that because that bugs me. I think 5.3.1 was the last one I had. So if 6.0 has come out, yeah, 5.2.1. Let's go ahead and grab that. If you have an Intel SSD or a Western Digital SSD, they all have utilities. SanDisk has their own utility, and it's often the only way you can get firmware updates. So if you don't have the utility, then you just have blissful ignorance, which is fine. You're happy, right? But you might not be so happy when you realize you're missing out on features or performance that you paid for, so it's worth investigating that. All right, so we're going to get the Samsung Magician installed, and then if you have an Intel-based chipset, you should look at getting the Intel Driver Update Assistant, which is completely free, and it'll check everything Intel. So if you've got an Intel network interface card, Intel hard drive controller, Intel, of course, the chipsets, Intel video, like built into the CPUs, it's a one-stop shop for all drivers for Intel, which is perfect. It's beautiful. You don't need any third-party software for this. Holy smokes, that looks completely different. I've never seen this before. What? Okay. Where's my firmware information? It used to tell me right in the drive details, maybe. I have to. This sucks. I liked it it used to be better. Firmware, latest version. It's not so prominent anymore. They've hidden it. Jerks. Let's do the benchmark. Yeah, they got to tell me the temperature of the drive because that's what everybody's fascinated with. I don't care if I have the latest firmware. I want to know how hot it's running. Can you take that thermometer out of my butt? I want to make sure I'm monitoring my temperature at all times, just like I do on my computer. Ooh, might be running a little hot. Yeah, you're running hot, all right. Can't believe they. Let's give the temperature up there. Put it in Celsius too. Americans love that. Don't worry if there's any good information. Make it look pretty. That's what they like. Oh, make it look pretty. Got it. What about functionality? You're fired. Okay, so when this finishes, I'm just curious, I should see some 3,000 megabytes a second, something like that, with this drive. Oh, I'm going to download the Intel Driver Assistant. I'm going to show you that because if you have an Intel-based system, this is a great free utility that'll monitor and let you know when there's updates. You don't have to go and physically check all the time. America is the only nation that uses Fahrenheit. And you say that like it's a bad thing. Somebody might be a little biased. I've never heard an American complain about the use of Fahrenheit. Just be like everybody else and we'll like you better. Don't be different or we'll beat up on you. He's not like us. Let's get him. Alex says, Carey, you're having too much fun today. I have to tell you, I had a very difficult day today for reasons I will not get into. And this is how I am trying to de-stress myself. Well, not the best performance numbers in the world. Oh yeah, they are. 35, 55 on the read, that's pretty good. I'll take it. I won't kick it out of bed for eating crackers. I don't even know what that means. Let's close that down. So it's updated. I'm happy because it's update. I'm going to uninstall the Windows 10 update thing because I don't need it anymore. So we'll just go to the control panel here and we'll go to apps. And we'll go to Windows 10, go down to W's, Windows 10 Update Assistant, and we'll uninstall it. We don't need it anymore. Bye-bye. Just like Hollywood. We don't need you anymore. Get lost. And then Windows, the Intel Driver Assistant. So just open up any browser. I've got Gedge and I'm just going to blend all my words into one big word. By the way, people from Michigan do that. It's a Michigan thing. People in Michigan don't say, for example, did you eat? They just say J-E-E-T. Jeet. I love it. All right, let's go to Google. And we'll type in Intel Driver Update Utilities right there. Probably the first link is what I want. Intel Driver and Support Assistant. If you have an AMD system, move along. These aren't the droids you're looking for. A newer version of the driver agent is required. Okay, download and run it. We don't need to save it. It's a pretty small little application. It's going to come up here. It's going to ask us if we want to install this, like, what do they call it? Like user feedback thingy, which I always say, no, I don't want it. I'm trying to keep the junk off my system. If I don't need it, I don't want it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. All right, click the agree, hit install, and accept the support assistant license agreement. And then you have to approve that. And then it's going to come up and it's going to ask us if we want, I think, or did I just do that too quickly? And while it's loading, I can just close this other window down. I don't need this open. Software has been installed, launch. So it launches in a browser, and it's now scanning this computer behind me, for any driver updates. And it's going to look through and it's going to say, oh yeah, Windows 10 Pro is good, that's good. Wow, even the graphics driver is good. There's an update available for the Intel right here. So just download all updates is what I would recommend you get. This may not work on laptops though, because laptops often, the manufacturers use their own drivers for, like on my Dell XPS 15, I can't install NVIDIA or Intel graphics drivers. They have to come through Windows Update or Dell, I'm not sure. That's just how it is. And then install. So we've downloaded the updates, now let's install them. Then the installer is going to run like it normally would if you downloaded this all by hand, so you have to click next, accept a license agreement, click next, click next, click next, click next. I thought I would see a newer video driver, but apparently Windows 10 has taken care of that for me, which is wonderful. Again, it's completely free, and anything that's Intel related, it just takes care of all of it. I also want to check and see if I've got a new BIOS available on this machine. So we'll run the CPU-Z utility, and we'll take a look at what BIOS version there is, and then we'll look and see if there's a latest one. So let me grab my flash drive right now with my utilities, which is right here. And any of these USB ports, in theory, should work if I built it right. And let's go here, here, CPU-Z, drag that out. And just for grins and giggles, I will go back down here to the little wrench. That's the Intel driver and support assistant. We'll let it scan again. And hopefully it'll just say everything's up to date. Yeah, so it's a big green bar. Your software is up to date. Perfect. Dogs are excited about having all the latest updates. Then I'm going to go over to CPU-Z, and we're going to launch the 64 version. It's always the portable version of the software. Portable means you don't have to install it, which means I don't have to uninstall it. Makes me happy. It's got a little pretty graphic icon there for my chip. It's totally worth the update. Motherboard is running BIOS version, what is that, F10? It's really tiny. So what is it? It's, let's go to Google. Go to Google. I really should just make that my homepage and be done with it here. And I gotta go full screen because I can't see nothing. Better. What do we got? We've got oh, that's not it. Wrong mouse, Carey. I've got a Gigabyte Z370 Aorus Gaming 7, right? So I'm just gonna go right here and type in a Aorus Z370 Gaming 7. I think I typed it, my back's to the camera, I can't see. Yeah, Z370 Gaming 7, it takes us to www.gigabyte.com. That's the what we want. So we'll click on that, go to, you see it says support up here? That's general support for Gigabyte. But if you come down here, and by the way, MSI, Asus, they all do this. They have two support buttons. You want the support on the product page if you want support for that specific product. Not the one up here, the one down here. Then, when that comes up, we can look under the section of BIOS, which I think will come up any minute now. Support, hello. Hello, support. Click it again. Sometimes you gotta click it twice, who knows. Downloads. Audio, no. BIOS, yes. Latest BIOS is F13, I've got F10. I don't need to install F11 or F12. Just go to the latest one. I'm in America, we're gonna grab that. I don't even care what it does, I just want it. Gimme, gimme. I'm gonna get a blank flash drive out, which I use for BIOS updates. I keep this flash drive empty. Okay, we'll just put it, here's another spot right here. Just put that right there. And then we'll open this. All I want is this one file, the BIOS file. I don't need these, you don't need to boot anymore to a boot disk to update. That's all like years ago. We don't do that anymore. So I'll just do extract. I'm just gonna extract everything because I like to do things the hard way, and then I will right click and copy this file, go to my 2 gig drive. It's a real small flash drive formatted in FAT32. some older systems, it needs to be FAT32 for the BIOS to see it. Most modern systems doesn't matter. So I still do things that way out of habit rather than have to make adjustments. It's always forward compatible, it's always backward compatible, it's not forward compatible. Now that I've done that, I want to go into the BIOS, and one of the ways you can kind of force into the BIOS rather than pressing delete at the right time, we can go into the gear icon and then go under update and security and go under troubleshooting. No, I'm sorry, go under recovery. Then go to advanced startup where it says restart now, but it's not going to restart now. It looks like it's going to restart. It's not. It's not restarting. It says, what do you want to do? I want to use I want to troubleshoot. And then I want to go to advanced options, and then I want to go to the BIOS. So UEFI firmware settings. Oh, you want to restart? Didn't I just hit restart now like 4 clicks ago? So Microsoft needs to work on that. It's a little confusing. But now instead of booting into Windows and without me touching anything, here's my hands. It's going to go right into the BIOS. And then I can just mouse over to right down here. It says Q Flash, update BIOS. It sees the flash drive with the file on it. I don't even have to point to it. It's like, oh, I see that. Is that what you want? I click on it. It's going to check it. Your mouse may become unresponsive. That's fine. You don't need to be clicking on nothing right now. Chill out, homeboy. You didn't say chill out, homeboy, in 1994? Shut up. And it's updating the BIOS. That's the process for updating a BIOS. It's really, really hard, and you got to be really, really educated. No, it's simple. It's simple. Just leave it alone. If you do it the way I just showed you, it's critical that you're picking the right motherboard, right? There could be a gaming 3 or a gaming 5 with the same model number. This is the gaming 7. Pay attention to that. Whatever current BIOS you have should be in the list of previous BIOSes. If your BIOS says your BIOS is 1506, and you say, well, these BIOSes are like F11 and F12, you're at the wrong motherboard, son. You need to change your search. You pay attention to the details. Could you be a little nicer? You want me to smack you? No, then I was nice. And you'll see in the BIOS in the upper left there, it says current flash Z370 OS Gaming 7, BIOS version F10. If we pick the wrong BIOS, it should tell us. It should just say, hey, this isn't the right BIOS. But sometimes when your motherboard's very similar, if it's this Gaming 3 versus Gaming 5, I've seen it where it'll accept it. Sometimes the BIOS is exactly the same regardless. Now, I'm not touching anything. It's just going to reboot on its own. And it may turn on and turn off several times. It's normal. Don't freak out. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. It's not going to heal if you keep picking at it. What's the name of the Intel utility? It's just type, okay, first of all, right now you can use your mouse and you can rewind this video. Right now you can do that. And you can watch me type in the search, you can watch me click on the link, you can hit pause, you can get a pen and paper and you can write it down, you can rewind it again, you can rewind it again, and you can rewind it again, and again, and again, as many times as you need to rewind it. Right now you have that ability. Please, please take advantage of the benefits of the DVR mode in YouTube. It's why I turn that feature on. And the reason I'm saying that is I don't remember the name of it. It's the Intel driver thing that I clicked on. Go look. The way that I find it, because I can never remember the name, is I just type in Google, Intel driver update thing. I take off the word thing. And Google knows what I mean, and it doesn't. So you don't have to be that specific with Google. If you're using Bing or some other search engine, then you probably do. But with Google, it's like, did you mean? Yeah, that's what it meant. All right, now we should have version F13 installed. And you see the system did turn itself off and on like 2 or 3 times. Sorry. Carl Wilson says, I'm laughing so hard right now. I'm just being honest. Just being honest. Will you run the optimizer on this PC? I think I already ran it, but it doesn't hurt to run it again. That's the great thing about my optimizer. That's the one good thing about it. It's only one good thing about it. You can run it all you want. It won't hurt anything. So yeah, it's a good idea. That's a good idea. Let's do that because we can. So once again, I have to go full screen so I can see. Let's run CPU-Z. Let's make sure we are running BIOS version F13. Again, I use the portable version of things like Crystal Disk Mark, Crystal Disk Info. If I'm going to use CCleaner, CPU-Z, always get the portable version. Stop installing crap on your PC. If the point of that crap is to make your PC better, why would you load it up with crap? Oh, I put on the uninstaller program. I put that on the Revo. Why did you do that? Oh, because I want to take the crap off my PC. So you put some crap on your PC that's job is to take crap off of your PC? Yeah. Yeah, I heard the I/O bit I installed is even better. Oh, put them both on then. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. We got to get this crap off my PC immediately and put some crap on it to do that. BIOS version F13 is the latest. That's from March. That's been a while. It's been a while, hasn't it, since I turned this machine on. All right, point made, we get it. Move on. The optimizer. Well, first of all, moving ahead here, let's get rid of this BIOS file. Once you use it, you never need it again unless you have multiple motherboards that are the same. We can erase that flash drive so it's blank and ready to be used again. I don't have to safely disconnect it because there's nothing on it to corrupt. And it's a 2 gig flash drive, and if I broke it, oh no, I lost 50 cents. It's fine. And then we'll go back to this drive with the optimizer. Uncle Carey's optimizer is right here. I always run it from the desktop. I don't like running it off of an external drive. We'll double click on that. Yes. If you want to check for updates, go to Options and check to see if there's a newer version. 1.3 is the latest version. And links for this are in the video notes below the video. And set power plan to balance. Yeah. Disable hibernation. Definitely want to check that. Disable auto reboot. So usually, like the checkbox means it's already done, right? That when you see this black box, it says this equals it's already been done. So the checkbox still need to be done, and those need to be done because the reinstall reactivated those things. So then we hit apply. And this software is not doing anything you can't do by hand with your mouse and your keyboard. It just does it faster, and it ensures no steps were skipped. It does it with a consistency that when you have to optimize as many systems as I do, it's sort of like, did I disable the hibernation file? I can't remember, and then I have to go and check again. So this is just more efficient. Just one click, boom, it's done. Now, when the system comes back up, you see the boot time here live. That's how long it takes to boot. It's a shame it's sitting in a box, right? What a shame. If I run this optimizer again, where's my mouse? If I run the optimizer again, watch what it says. Your system is already fully optimized. Right on. If you want to undo anything, you can right click and you can undo individual optimizations. So you can put things back. It's not like a one-way ticket with no return ticket. That's an IT crowd reference. We've established you're a nerd. You're fine. We get it. You're the Mac Daddy of nerds. Yep, it looks like it's all can be emptied. I'm done with all that. Oops. We can run trim on the SSD, so that means we can do that through the Samsung utility, which is the Magician software, which isn't running. I thought it would run automatically. Oh, it's different looking. Performance optimization, Samsung 970, rapid mode, optimize is to just say, hey, I want to trim the drive. Normally this would be like a defragment on a mechanical drive, but instead of defragmenting, it's trimming. And that's just garbage cleanup on the drive. It helps with performance. It does recommend you do that weekly, but Windows 10 is going to do it weekly for us whether you like it or not. It's already set that way, so you don't have to do all of this maintenance to Windows anymore like we used to do. Those days are now behind us. All those utility companies had better come up with another plan because we don't need them. They need something else. Microsoft does that, you know. Used to be if you wanted to resize a partition, you had to get a piece of software. And Microsoft said, yeah, we'll build that into Windows. Hey, you want to back up and make a system image? You need a piece of software? Yeah, we'll build that into Windows. Now, granted, the stuff they build into Windows doesn't have so many bells, whistles, and features as a utility specifically for partitioning or imaging or cloning. Well, it doesn't do cloning, it does imaging. But it's there and it's free and you can use it if that's what you want to do. So my Carey's optimizer won't update. The only time I've ever seen the optimizer not update is if you've already got the latest version, which is 1.3, or you're trying to update it off of like a flash drive. Copy it to your desktop and then try and update it. And then when you get the update, copy it back onto your flash drive. I've been meaning to talk to Nick about that. I'm not sure why it does that, but it's really not a big deal. It's a tiny thing. It takes 2 seconds. And it wasn't intended to be sold to people like as a product. It was intended to help me in my business. And viewers were like, hey, would you sell that to me? Because that looks pretty useful. Okay. It wasn't like I said, hey, I got this brilliant idea. I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to go on Shark Tank with this thing. Not even talking to Kevin. Not talking to, what do they call him? Mr. Nice Guy? No, that's not it. What's the best way to format an SSD to sell a computer? Well, there's no real secure way apart from destroying it. Anything you do to run it, if somebody intelligent enough gets it, they can retrieve data from it no matter what you do. But if you're just looking for like, you know, the person I'm selling it to is not going to know how to do that. How do I reformat it? You can start the Windows 10 install. You boot off a Windows 10 install. And then it'll say, you know, where do you want to install Windows 10? It'll show your drive. And then click on each partition and hit delete one by one until all the partitions are deleted. Shut the computer off. Unplug your Windows 10 installation media. And that system, no booty, no more. You've just wiped all the partitions. Could somebody come back and restore those partitions? If they have the intelligence to do so, they very well could. Solid state drives are very inexpensive. What's your data worth? If it's just a formality, that'll take care of it. There's no such thing as securing and erasing a solid state drive. It's impossible. There are utilities, even in DBAN, Derek's Boot and Nuke, it's got a disclaimer, not for solid state drives, because solid state drives have little areas of buffer and what's the word I'm looking for? There's a word, and it means that there's data outside of the area you can see, or that any software, traditional software can see. And even like encryption that's built into SSD, even Microsoft is like, no, it's not really safe to encrypt, because there's been a lot of demonstrations of how you can get around that built-in encryption on SSDs. So there's sort of two answers here. If the data is absolutely critical and it's going to be sold to somebody who potentially you think has the skills to get it back, just take the drive and keep it and let them buy their own drive, or go buy a cheap drive and throw it in there and add it to the cost of the system. It was just a formality. I just want to get my stuff off, and the person I'm giving it to doesn't know much about computers. They're never going to be able to retrieve it. Then just what I said about booting to the Windows 10 media, delete the partitions and turn the computer off. It's done. I also have a video called How to Reset a Computer Back to Factory, but you still need to you would need to take the hard drive out, boot to Windows, run the disk part utility. It's the old school DOS fashion, DOS mode of going in there and manually cleaning the partition, which gets rid of RAID array configuration, which other utilities don't remove. It's still in the protected area of the drive. And then you'd have to clean the drive if you fail to unRAID it from the BIOS it was connected to. Because people will say, I turned the RAID off, but it's still recognizing it as a RAID drive. I don't have a RAID array. I don't understand what that is. It's in the protected area of the drive. You have to clean it. And I have a video that shows how to do that. And it effectively puts that drive in the condition it was when it was brand new out of the box, with no partition, no format. But technically the data's still on it. So somebody with enough knowledge could retrieve that data. It's not a format. But even a secure format, somebody with enough knowledge and the right tools can still get your data back. If it's that critical, you have to destroy the drive or keep the drive and replace it so it doesn't fall into somebody else's hands. People are very different about this sort of thing because some people are like, look, I just want the basics, right? I'm not sending this off to Sheldon on the Big Bang Theory. I'm just giving it to my neighbor or my kid. You're fine. Don't worry about it. I don't want them to see my checking account information. I don't want them to know how much money I've got. Kid's never going to go to college. I'm going to wait for grandpa to die. And then I'm dating a Kardashian. Take a number. Robert Jones says, Robert Herjavec's going to be at the Corona Center. Yes, he's a paid speaker. Robert Herjavec is the nice shark in the Shark Tank. He's the cybersecurity guy from Croatia. Super nice guy. Russ Reynolds just contributed 20 bucks. Hey, thank you, Russ. Thanks for supporting the channel. Madi UL's contributed $2. He says, Kevin is Mr. Wonderful. Yeah, that's it, Mr. Wonderful. You can see I'm a big fan of Mr. Wonderful. Carey, a neglected PC, says Sid, the Sims channel, has contributed $2. Well, it's not so neglected now, is it? It looks like it's running pretty good. I do need to add a graphics card in here. I need to clean up the cable management. I need to add another fan. I think I've got a spare one, but if I don't, I'll order one. I have a card for this too. I think I've got a 2070 around here, brand new in a box that I've completely forgotten about. I have to find it. And I think I have a 1070 brand new in a box. But the 1070 is for another build. That's the build Mitch and I have been working on since October. How long does it take you to build a computer? Isn't it October now? Oh yeah. Mitch lives quite a ways away, and between the two of us, it's hard sometimes to find the time. And there's no customer waiting for this system. So it's a brand new computer. It's the world's slowest computer build. And you can only find that here on my channel. Yeah. Have you seen that video? Nobody has built a computer slower than that. You got to watch it. I watch it at 1.5 times normal speed, so he builds it twice as fast. I guess that would be 2 times normal speed. Oh yeah. Math is hard. I think that looks pretty good. I don't know that am I forgetting to update anything? Latest video driver, latest BIOS, latest Windows updates. I could throw a copy of Malware Bytes on here and activate it, but I'm not using the machine. It seems like a waste of money because it's probably going to sit on the shelf again. No. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I'll do another video and we'll put a graphics card in this bad boy, get that fan fixed, unless I don't have a fan. Then I have to order a fan. And I can't do the cable management and finish it without the fan. This is how it ends up on a shelf for months because I go, I'll get around to that when I have some time. Oh, tomorrow I know what I have to do. I have a bunch of coolers from Scythe, and I've been trying to think how I want to compare them. The best way to compare these coolers will be to use them on the same platform with the same testing and the same environment. And since this computer doesn't have an owner, I don't have to worry about breaking it. I'm not going to break it. But if I should break it, taking coolers on and off, that's on me. I don't have to answer to a customer. Because I've got about 5 coolers from Scythe, and I'd like to compare their performance, the process of installing, and their cost to determine which one's the best bang for the buck. The Mugen 5. It's over. Save you a little time. Okay, well, just for grins and giggles, we'll do it anyway. Maybe we'll learn something new. No, I already know everything. Are you sure? What did I just say? All right, let's shut this down for now. See how fast that kicks. And it's dead quiet, just dead silent. Well, of course it's dead quiet. It's got a liquid cooler on there. There's no fan. Fan in the back and 2 fans in the front. There's no graphics card. Power supply fan. 2 fans up at the top for the radiator. I guess there's some fans in there. It could be making noise. A very, very quiet system. And that's what you need when you stream. Well, that's what I need. I don't know what you need when you stream, but that's what I need when I stream. Just so I'm clear. And let's see if we can go full screen with me because, you know. I got nothing. Just trying to think of something. Nothing happened. Yours, Jeffrey says, recovery is not possible with a solid state drive. Oh, poor Jeffrey. What's it like living in your world? You should watch my videos on data recovery. SSD is often easier to recover from than mechanical storage because there's no platter damage. You have to understand. Just please watch the videos. Just type in Carey Holzman data recovery and please watch my videos. Because you are so wrong. It's quite the opposite. All right. Any final comments or questions in the chat room? I'll take them now. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up. The dogs are like, hey, man, where's my food? Carey, what a sexy guy. Oh, do you really think so? No. There's the thumbnail. I stole that from Liza Koshy. I don't care. Call me. You guys want some dinner? Lyle's like, are you kidding me? Is this a test? Let's see. You guys gonna say hello? You guys gonna say hello? Come here. You too. You look at me like that. Come here. Yeah, we know who listens. Come here. Lyle. 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 Jimmy's like, I'm right here, man. Give me some attention. Lyle. Lyle. Jimmy's like, I'm right here, bro. I'm right here. I love you. I'll do anything you ask. Lyle. 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 Come here. Oh, I love this dog. All right, you hungry? You want some dinner? Here we go. Ah, monsieur, the chef today has prepared for you a very special dish indeed. It is dog food. Enjoy. Bon appetit. Oh my God, it's dog food. That's my favorite. How did he know that's my favorite? All right, boys are eating. I'm about out of energy. Oops. Back a little bit. Did you guys want a close-up of that? Where is it? There it is. There's the bottom. There's the top. I'll take the cover off of it when I put the stuff in it later and we'll get a better view. And the video, the build video for this is obviously still up. If you do a search for Nuka-Cola on my channel, or just search in general for Carey Holzman Nuka, N-U-K-A, it should pull up all those videos, the 4 builds that I talked about earlier. I'm still not quite zoomed out enough. See, my head's getting too big. That's a real problem. Gonna have to get a wider lens. Oh, now they're by the cookie jar. Look at them. What do you think's gonna happen next? What happens next, boy? Time for a cookie? You guys want your dessert now? Or you don't want my dinner? Can I have a foot? You gonna just touch me at all? No? You won't touch me? Just give me the damn cookie or I'll kill you. What about you? I love you. Oh, you're a good boy, Jimmy. You're the good one. Oh boy. Oh boy. Are you ready for your cookies? I swear to God, I'm gonna wipe my butt on your pillow. Okay. There's yours. There's yours. See ya. Bye. was I? Carey, what do you use the whiteboard for when you saw the whiteboard? So down here, who's got a sharp eye? Down here there's a whiteboard, and this belongs to Mitch. When I need Mitch to say something when we're filming, we script it, we write it, and then we put it up so Mitch can read it. Mitch is actually a robot. People don't realize that, and that's how I program him. He's like a Stepford husband. I don't know what that means. So many references. It's like Dennis Miller over here. Who's Dennis Miller? I don't get that reference. There's a joke in a joke. Oh, is it like a Hot Pocket? Okay, final questions. This is it. I mean it this time. Final questions. This is it. If you got a question, this is it. The BIOS I put on was F13, and a lot of people were saying it was F14. I didn't see an F14. Let me look again. I'll do it again. I don't care. I'll upgrade to the latest BIOS. Did I go that quickly? Let's see. Aorus. Sometimes I do. I make mistakes. Don't let the word get out. It'll ruin my reputation. Aorus Z370 Gaming 7. Clicky clicky. Support. BIOS. F13. Oh, there's an F14. Look at that. All right, well, we'll do that. It's live. Didn't hurt anything. It just means I have to do it again. Story of my life. It was so fun, I wanted to do it twice. I'm seeing if you were paying attention. Testing you, yeah, that's the ticket. Yeah, I was just checking to see. All right, so I'm downloading F14, well, I've downloaded it, I'm extracting it to the flash drive. And now I'm gonna delete those downloads because I don't need it no more. You animal food trough wiper. Okay, so let me extract the flash drive. Let's do this again. Why not? It's fun. And that's tasty. Let's do Dale Mulaki, or Maluk, I'm not sure how you say your last name, contributed $10. He says, hey, buy a case of Coke on me. Thanks for the informative videos. All right, it's time for a Costco run, brother. I think I will do just that, where I can buy it by the case. Let's go back to camera 2. Hang in there with me. I'm going to boot this thing back up. And I'm going to hit the end key, which is what function right arrow, which should take me to Q flash. Yes, I should have had the flash drive in already, but I'll just put it in now. Hopefully it'll see it there. Enter. No such luck. No. No. All right, I got to turn it off. Maybe try turning it off and back on again. And then we'll turn it back on and hit the end key. On a Gigabyte motherboard, it's the end, END. That takes you right into the Q flash, as you see at the bottom right corner. And now we'll hit update. Now it sees it because the flash drive is already there. Put it at 14. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for pointing it out. We'll do the intact and let that run. Just take a minute. Happy little accidents, Evan. That's right. Does Mitch need a BIOS update? I don't know. It sounds like a personal question. Winston Angloos contributed to Canadian dollars. Thank you, Winston. Winston joins us from Vancouver, Canada. Carey, will you be making this PC the streamer? Yes. Yeah. I don't know when, but I intend to because I'm kind of getting pissed off with this AMD system. Losing my patience. It's not terrible. It's just not as good. It's not as quiet. I could rebuild it, put a different cooler on it, which in all fairness I did with this system behind me. But everybody, it's like, oh, you gotta use AMD, you know. They're wonderful and they're great. And when they make mistakes, it's totally understandable because it's all new, you know. But Intel, they're too expensive, and when they make mistakes, we attack them. But it's okay if AMD does it because we give them a pass. Because they're the little guy. But if they get big, we might just have to take them down a notch. Robin Taha says, I've contributed $18 via TechVets. 2 dependable and trouble-free computers are new in our house in urban Ratchathani. Ratchathani? I can't possibly be pronouncing that correctly. Thanks for all your good advice. Oh, thank you, Robin. Thank you. Does Mitch run on Windows software? Mitch has a proprietary software that he doesn't disclose. Bill Ottinger says, I did what you instructed and my optimizer updated correctly. Very good, Bill. Very good. Remember that. Jacob says, I'm going to start my own computer repair and technology business because I'm fed up with being involved with the scams like Office Depot makes me sell. Hey, listen, whatever your motivation is to get you doing it, do it. Do it. So the machine is just rebooting itself. If you're wondering why you see no signal, that's my video capture card saying that there's no, it's just like your monitor. If you turn your computer off and leave your monitor on, or turn your TV on and you turn your cable box off, you get this no signal. And so the machine's been rebooting on its own, and I've just been talking on top of it. So it should be, yeah, it's booted up now. If you like my channel, there's a subscribe button that kind of looks like that, and you click it like that, and then there's a notification bell, and you click that. That's how that works. If you like the video, it's a whole lot of effort, but you just click that little thumbs up. I know it's a lot to ask. God forbid, because I don't know if you like this video or not. Just because it's got 8 million views. I have no idea. I need you to tell me with a thumbs up. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Do you like my video? Well, I don't know. How many views does it have? 4? No. What about me? What about my video? How many views does it have? 14,872,000? No. I'm not giving it a thumbs up. Oh. So, yeah, that's what that's for. Glad we cleared up any confusion. Thanks, YouTube. Oh, and there it is all lit up. Remember I said I'd show you what it looks like all lit up. Look at that. You can see I'm streaming so much better because of the RGB. Right? You can't tell me today's show wasn't a better show. You know why? RGB. You don't have RGB? Well, you're just not as good as me. Too bad. Maybe when you get RGB, you can step up a level. Throw a couple Go Faster stickers on that bad boy. You ever see any Indy cars or race cars winning any races that don't have any stickers on them? Clearly, the stickers make them go faster. Duh. Thank you, Billie Eyelash. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I don't know what's going on. What is in my water? Why is Lyle giggling? Tastes like water. What does that AO mean down the bottom? AO? It doesn't say AO. I don't see AO. It says Aorus over here. It says NZXT down here. I don't see AO. It does have an all-in-one liquid cooler, AIO, but it doesn't say that anywhere. What am I missing? I don't know. Apparently, that's a very good question. What lavalier mic do you use? This lavalier is different than the one that came with the... So the Sennheiser kit I have is pretty common in the industry, like Hollywood and rock bands. This is very common. This is about $600. And then I changed the microphone because it comes with a Mark IV Sennheiser mic, which, according to all the snobs, is not very good. It's not as warm or well-rounded in the bass tones. So I paid way too much money for this thing. A little tiny microphone, which I guess you could stick in your hair and stuff like that, which I don't really care about. And I thought, well, they say this one's better, even though it's 1/5 the size. And it's $350, and it's made by, I've already forgotten who makes it. And there's another one. I think I've got them in the list in the link below the video. Boy, that's bothering me. I can't think of the name of it. I've got the box back here. These high-end microphones, I don't know anything about them because I'm not in Hollywood. I don't do professional production. Duh. But here it is. It's made by Countryman. So this is a Countryman Associates. And the guy who founded the company, guess what his last name is? His last name is Countryman. So I thought that was a good name, Countryman, until I realized it's just the guy's last name. You ever bought any Kenwood audio equipment? Yeah, you know who invented that company? Ken Wood. So, way overthinking some of this stuff. So it's a Countryman microphone. But I think the link for the mic is in the Amazon link below that says, here's all the stuff I use on my channel. It's way too much. It's like $350 for just that piece. And then $600 for the sender and receiver. So that's $900 and change for the one microphone. And I've got two of these. So it gets expensive. And then I have to buy rechargeable batteries because otherwise I'm going to be spending a fortune on batteries, and this takes two, the receiver takes two. Then you got to buy the charger, and you better buy an extra set so you have a set charging and a set you can use. But that's, minimal. But, yeah. There you go. The debug screen on the motherboard showed an A0. Oh, they mean this LED. Oh, right. Now we're talking the same language. That A0, not AO, A0. Some motherboards have this diagnostic LED, which has never once helped me in real life. Like, you've seen me build some systems where they're not turning on, and then the LED will say something like A1, and then the manual will say A1 not used. Thank you. That's for hardware diagnostic. When your system's not booting up and you're not getting any signal, you could look at the LED and it'll, I guess, tell you what's wrong. So, sorry, I was kind of teasing you earlier. You had a legitimate, that's a legitimate question. So, I'm old school. I don't look at these things when there's a problem. I use this thing that's inside my skull. There's stuff underneath my hair. besides dandruff, there's a brain in there, according to the MRI. And I use that to figure out why the system doesn't work. Because if the system's not working, I don't trust it to tell me what's not working. Because if it knew what was not working, then why doesn't it just fix itself? If you're so smart, why don't you fix it? So, but these diagnostic LEDs are there for people who don't know how to diagnose a computer, and to suggest you don't need to learn, because as long as you've got that, you'll know. And yet, never, ever in my life, ever, has that LED led me, has the, look up the code, oh, it's an A7, oh, A7, oh my God, it's an A7. You can't just look up A7. I mean, you got to, it's just specific to the motherboard manufacturer. So you look at the manual, here's the codes, A7, never to press twice flexible when kneeling. What? So I have found that they're just not very helpful. In fact, in the amount of time it takes me to find the manual, find the page in the manual, and read the answer, I will have already diagnosed and repaired it, or be well on my way to reaching that goal. So I'm a doer. Just get her done. Move on. Tell me the machine's broken and it's going to tell me what's broken. That doesn't make any sense. How can you know what's broken if you're broken? How can I trust anything you're saying with accuracy if you're broken? So when they said A0, I don't even pay attention. Like, I didn't even realize my brain, even though my eyes were physically seeing it, my brain was not seeing that. I'm just like washing right over that. That is a completely useless RGB light, as far as I'm concerned. The fact that it's setting a diagnostic code that somewhere someone thought was useful, that's what it's for. That is, turns out to be a very good question. But yeah. Ken Wood's wife is Hollywood. That's funny. Reverend General Tool says, I just bought the Rode Wireless Go. I've heard good things about it. I've also heard good things about Sennheiser has a new microphone that's sort of competing in that same line, where it's a kind of a funny shape. It's really intended for, not professionals, but sort of higher end consumers. But it's not very, like this microphone I've got, it's very, very configurable. There's a lot of options. When you go with the Rode Wireless Go, it's sort of, you turn it on and you just trust it, and it does everything automatically. And the same Sennheiser has their version of that. I forget what it's called. And I was considering buying it, and I realized that's a big step backwards for me, but it's certainly a step in the right direction if you're using a wired microphone of any kind. And I was using my Rode, so I have a couple of Rode microphones. I've got the big white podcaster mic, which is wonderful. And then I've got the what do you call it? The boom sort of mic. It's got a name. And so when I was in Michigan and I was talking to you from the river, I was using the boom mic. I'll show you. Hold on, I'll get it and I'll show you. I can't think of what it's called. There's too many technology terms. They're all starting to confuse me, remembering terms I don't use very often. So when I went to Michigan, I didn't want to take my big camera. It's heavy, and if somebody broke into the car, I'd be screwed. So I took one of my G40s, which I have here, a Canon G40. And I got the Rode micro. It's got a windscreen on here that can come off. And I was amazing how well it picked up my voice, because I still wanted to hear the sounds of the river and the trees and the wind. And it's got a couple buttons here on the back. One for like wind noise reduction, and one's just on and off. And it takes a 9-volt battery. You don't really see much stuff today that takes a 9-volt. It's just underneath here. And I've had that battery in there for like a year. And I'm so worried that microphone's going to turn off because the battery's going to die, and I'm not going to know. I'm going to record like a 3-hour marathon podcast and realize it's just a bunch of, and I have no audio. So these cameras have a feature on these Canons where you can say, give me 50% of the audio from here and give me 50% from the built-in cam mic. And that's really good when I do presentations that I want to pick myself up on stage, or I can have the wireless mic plugged directly in and put the camera on a 50-50 so that when somebody in the audience asks a question or the audience claps, you get the audience much louder than you would off, because this lapel mic's designed to just pick me up. And when somebody asks a question, you guys can't hear it, I have to repeat it back. So when I turn the microphone or set the camera to a 50-50, say take half of the audio from here and blend it with half of the audio from the built-in mics, these built-in mics suck, but they work really well in certain environments. And so in a worst case scenario, one of the benefits of turning the in-camera mic on at 50% is if the battery were to die, yeah, my audio quality for me talking to the camera would go down, but at least it wouldn't go dead, which is how I've got it configured right now, which keeps me paranoid about watching that damn battery life, because I have no idea how long is a 9-volt battery supposed to last in this thing. And you'll see it's got this really cool shock mount. So as you move it around, when you have a microphone and you bang on a table or something, it carries right through the microphone. Boom, boom. So with a shock mount, it allows the microphone to move silently as you're walking around with the camera, or it gets bumped. The microphone doesn't pick up any of that and focuses strictly on the audio. And it's a really unique looking shock mount and does a really good job. Unlike other shock mounts that have rubber bands or elastic bands, they stretch out over time and they have to be replaced. That's a pretty fixed design. And I was thinking of upgrading this to the newest Rode boom mic, and I'm so impressed with how well it worked. I'm like, why do I want to replace it? It's really good. It's really doing a good job. One day I'll turn it on and you guys can do an audio comparison. Clearly the lapel mic's going to sound better, but it doesn't sound bad. It's a world of difference better than the in-camera mic, which I used to use when I was doing my videos 10 years ago in standard definition with a much cheaper Canon camcorder. There's a word for that microphone. I was hoping somebody in the chat would tell me what it's called. Shotgun microphone. There it is. It's a shotgun mic. Thank you. I knew somebody would say it. Reverend John O'Toole had it. Samuel Kowalski had it. Yes, yes. Kevin Bilderbeck's contributed $2. Hey, thank you, Kevin. Did they ever discontinue the 200R case? I don't know. I don't know. They're still available. They're like $75 now. I don't know if they're $75 because inventory is running out and they are what they are, or is it because of the new tariffs? I don't know. I don't know. Harry Daig says, I love the show, very educational. I've learned a lot from Carey. Thank you, Harry. It's very kind of you. I need some advice. I'm in the market for a printer, mid-price, the ability to scan, networkable, wireless, one that'll last. What would I recommend? I'm still using my Samsung wireless scanning laser printer, but Samsung sold their laser printer off to HP. Their division, the whole thing is owned by HP now. I would probably look at Brother. Xerox is worth looking at, but they're more industrial, sometimes not as driver friendly. With, you know, if you're real geeky, you know, there's a lot of configurations on a Xerox printer. I don't know, what do you guys think? I pretty much avoid HP as much as I can, although their laser printers have always been pretty good. I would definitely look for a laser printer. If it's an inkjet, maybe Canon, Brother. Yeah. But I'm done with inkjets. They're just too unreliable, too much pain in the butt. Stick with a laser printer and be done with it for a long time. You didn't turn off your computer. Well, I can just hit the power button right up here and it'll cycle itself off in a minute. What else? Oh, I just heard it click. Did people break into your car in Michigan? There was no crime where I was in Michigan. I'm like this guy from Phoenix who's like looking for the street peddlers and the buskers and the people, you know, homeless people, nothing. Funny thing about being in the woods, right? You never see any homeless people like, hey man, I'm hungry. Yeah, so am I. That's why I'm out here in the woods with a gun. You know, we're hunting. That's why I'm out here with the river with the fishing pole. You just don't see people like that in that area. It's a much slower pace of life. People are much calmer. They're more courteous. Everything in Arizona is 100 miles an hour. Go, 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 go. So here I was locking the doors, and the guy's like, you don't need to lock your doors here. And we've left the cottage unlocked all week, and nobody's even so much as looked twice at it. Not suggesting that's a good idea, but he's just saying this doesn't happen here. That was nice. It was nice to not have to constantly be looking over your shoulder. But you know, when you're staying in hotels on a road trip off the freeway, especially the kind of hotels I stay at, you better make sure that the windows are rolled up and the doors are locked, if you know what I'm saying. $25.99 a night ain't getting you the nicest place. In fact, I think they stole my towels. That's how bad that place was. Thank you, Jay Leno. I've stolen your material. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. Let's do this again. That's it for me for today. Thanks to all the contributors during today's live feed, and that is Kevin Billerbeck, Dale Mulaki, Winston Eng, Lou, Madi, Yoel, several contributions from Madi. Thank you, Madi. Sharon Idle, Russ Reynolds, Sid, The Sims Channel, Raul Fernandez Jr., Randy Hopkins, Daytona Beach, Florida, Mike Zeleniski, Randy Hopkins, Russ, the PC Doctor, Martin, Madi again, Bill Ottinger, Richard Shirgala, Fritzer, John Craig, Rochester, New York, 87, Child of Yah, Tom Jackson, Jeremy Kramer, David Kane, Winston Anglo again, David Kane again, Lee Bigley, Randall Doms, Tony Wallow, Ascended, OG Gaming, John Craig, Dan Baggs, Randall Hill, Nighthawk, Steve Welch, Chester Hughes, Ramek72, Abdul Azim Patel, and Madi Yoel again. Well, thanks, you guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thanks for hanging out with me today. It's been fun. It's been real. I'll see you all again, hopefully tomorrow, and get some more work done. And more of me doing whatever this is. Have a good night. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Is it obvious I'm looking for a button to press? Where's my producer? Bye for now.